Now, a major treat in today's annual program. Please join us in introducing the next pair of Wybama hosts, Kaya Osborne and Matt Binger. Friends, please take the podium.
Thank you both so much. All right. Hi, all. I'm Matt Binger. I attend Natomas Charter Performing and Fine Arts Academy. I'm a junior this year, and my heart is in theater. I've played an active role in our school's new Wybama Studio Club that is building on our campus, and worked on a movie production project last summer's California State Fair. And my partner...
Good morning, brothers and sisters. My name is Kaya Osborne. I am a sophomore at Franklin High School, and like Matt, my passion is pure theater. I participated in this summer's California State Fair Youth Movie Studio Crew, and I am so proud to introduce you to our media wizard industry guest, whose name is Bill Holshevnikoff.
We asked Bill to be our speaker this year because he is a giant Emmy Award-winning expert in the industry when it comes to what movies are all about: lighting. Even God, on the first day, in the beginning of everything, created light to distinguish from the darkness of the void. You get the picture?
Bill is an amazing artist, a technician, professional, and teacher as a director of photography and cinematography. He's a leader in the field for over 30 years. His work covers broadcasting, corporate media, documentary programming, and a feature film production across the globe for National Geographic, ESPN, Mercedes-Benz, and Cisco, and that's just for starters.
Bill has built his own acclaimed Power of Lighting DVD training series and videos working with the top lighting manufacturers in the field. He has a lot to share with us today. We will have a short Q&A, so be ready to jump up to our floor mic, which is right over there, like directly there. All right, so when you go over, please introduce yourself as your name and your school, and be sure to speak really close to the mic when the time comes. Now, please welcome a great mentor and friend of Tower of Youth, Mr. Bill Holshevnikoff.
Good morning, everyone. There you go, you're awake. So, I normally am out in the field. I just came from Southern California late last night to get here, and Mr. Bronston, we sat with these young kids, and that's an amazing group of kids, by the way. He has really picked some great young stars, I think, for this industry, and they've done a really nice job putting this whole program together. Applause for them, I think, is really what we need to hear. So what I'm going to do is give you a crash course in lighting. It's pretty much what I do every day. I'm either on a network set, lighting news sets or talk shows, or I'm out in the field shooting a commercial or a documentary, and I've pretty much had a camera in my hand since I was about 10 or 12 years old. Adjusted? Per the notes last night? Is that better? So I'm going to give you guys a quick crash course. I've got about 45 minutes, and normally I'd teach all day, so I'm going to just cram a ton of stuff into your brain, and you're thinking, oh, lighting, I guess that's kind of interesting, and maybe it's important. You wouldn't even be looking at me right now if it weren't for these lights up here. And if I were to light me for camera, I wouldn't use these because they're a little tough on the skin. It's kind of tough to make people look pretty with hard light like this. It's more like the sun coming in, creating very hard shadows. So what we're going to do is kind of break down light, because the idea of a director of photography or cinematographer, it's the same term. The idea is that you understand light and see the way a camera sees, because ultimately that's what you're doing, is you're recording images either on your iPhone or a DSLR or a cinema camera. And the idea actually of film, to me, they call it filmmaking. And film itself, the medium, is going away, and almost everything's going on digital now. So filmmaking is changing dramatically. LED lights have entered the world. Most of it's not great. A couple of them are great, and that's going to be ramping up very quickly into the business. And really, to me, doesn't matter as much as what kind of camera I'm recording on it as to the lenses. The lenses are much more important to cinematographers because we want, as we'd say, great glass in front of the camera. So what I'm going to do is take you on a little journey of the type of work I do and why I believe lighting is so important. It adds production value. Even the pieces you've already watched this morning, there's different moods in bedrooms, outside, things. And so you've got to be able to, as a cinematographer, take the director's vision, and he may say, I need this to look like morning. We're going to be in a kitchen. You're actually in a studio, but I need it to feel like a kitchen in a house, and it's got to feel like morning with the morning sun coming in. Or this should look like dawn, and somebody's just waking up, and that early dawn lights outside the window. And so it's our job to bring that to the screen. So it is half technician and half artistry. And a lot of people draw analogies to woodworking. If you were going to build a dresser, if I was going to build this, I'd go to the hardware store and buy a bunch of tools and a bunch of lumber. Well, it's the same thing with shaping light. You need tools, you need the proper tools, and an education on how to use them. So I'm going to kind of just jam through a bunch of info, and then maybe you guys can have some questions after. Can we go to the presentation, please? We don't need to see me anymore. So I've been shooting around the globe for about 30 years, and I shoot a lot of resorts around the world. I shoot commercials, I shoot documentaries, all kinds of different things. And right now the buzz is two things. DSLRs, digital, is a huge buzz. Everybody wants a new DSLR. Everybody wants the newest camera because, of course, that'll make your work better. Maybe. Also, everybody wants the latest in LEDs. LEDs, especially in Asia and Eastern Europe, is a huge buzz. They don't even know what they're buying. They just buy LED because everyone says that must be the right thing to do. But regardless of the kind of gear you have, and I started just like you guys started. I had a little SLR with film, and I had no lights. I knew nothing. And regardless of the gear you have, if you understand light and how to shape it and how to move it and make it work for the camera, then the image in your head can get to the screen. And that's the whole idea, because eventually what you're trying to do is send a message or persuade someone to buy a new car, someone to buy a hamburger, or someone to understand the message you're trying to get across in a film. And if you don't capture them visually, sound is super important, but if you don't capture them visually in those first minutes, you've lost them. And unfortunately, your yardstick these days is HBO, major cinema, big-time television stuff, national commercials. That's what everybody's going to measure your stuff against. And you say, well, that's not fair, because if I had that gear, if I had that budget, I could do that. Maybe you could. Maybe you couldn't. There's some really talented people out there shaping those images and working very quickly with a very good crew. So there's a lot to this business, and being a cinematographer is being a mother on set. All the actors come to you and ask you why they have wrinkles and can you hide them, and you have that kind of stuff, and your crew's hungry, and you're watching the clock so you don't go into overtime. It gets very complex. So the lighting and the shooting part of it, that's what we call making the pretty picture. That's just fun. And that's the part I enjoy the most. The rest of it is managing, and you're managing an entire crew and an entire production, sometimes for a month at a time. So it's a complex business. So if you can get this part of it, the image making part of it, down pat, then you're off and running, and you can then start to choose your path as if you choose to be a cinematographer or a lighting designer or even in sound or anything else. But you've got to know the craft first. You can see some of the network sets that are being done right now, and LEDs are built into these sets. This is in Hong Kong for CCTV. And LEDs have become such a buzz right now, just like the DSLRs and the whole digital thing. And there's just so much to know about it right now. Like I said, most of it's junk out there. And if you go on B&H Photo and buy one for $79, you're going to get $79 worth of an LED light. The color will be bad. It'll probably burn out in 6 months. The dimmers won't work, etc. So you kind of get what you pay for these days. And as we get into documentary work, you can see some images here from around the globe. And again, things change so much in documentary, and this is where DSLRs are so great, because I can walk into a country, this is the country of Georgia over by Turkey, and I can go in and look like a tourist, and yet I can be grabbing images on a Canon 5D with a huge sensor. I can be grabbing cinematic images, and I'll still look like a tourist. So there's a great benefit to some of these things, but it's a tool for the right job, and I think that's where people get confused. Yeah, all of our tools, the lights, the grip equipment, our crew, the cameras, the lenses, it's all tools, and choosing the right tool and understanding what to choose to have these kind of images is the big deal. Now, that again, got to get the new camera, got to get the newest thing. Well, the last half dozen images you've looked at, I shot with my phone. So if you can shoot this kind of stuff with your phone, then maybe it's not the newest camera that you need. It's more of an idea of composition and where you're heading with the whole production and what kind of mood, what kind of images, what kind of message you're trying to give. So let's just tap into digital cinematography right now because it is changing so quickly. This is the new face of cinema, in cinema production that I see. This is the Canon 7D, I believe, the 5D. There's a lot of different DSLRs, and they're great. But the problem is it's a still camera, and they put a video processing signal processor inside of it, and they're wonderful. The images are amazing. They're not made for production like we do, really. Here's what you have to do. You have to spend, this has gone on auto, hold on a second. You have to spend, stop. Back, go back. Stop, stop, stop. Can you guys stop this thing? It's on auto everything. I just want to stop on some of these images. They were set up with cues to stop, and it's just going wild. Apparently. So, yeah, back to the digital camera with the gal holding it. So what happens with DSLRs is you buy a $1,500 camera lens system, and then you got to buy about $10,000 worth of gear to support it so you can actually use it in a useful way. And that's where the problems lie. And they're still, if you know what you're doing, if you can do the follow focus, you can make some great pictures, but they're not really made for filmmaking. So a lot of people are coming back with a lot of out of focus images. They can't quite manage how to do the kind of professional work that we normally do on a day-to-day basis. And so what happens is they get stuck and they're not making the pictures they want. And again, it's the wrong tool for the job that they're hopping into. So don't get sucked into whatever you're reading about as the latest piece of gear. In 30 years, I've never bought a big camera system. I rent them for the right job, the right camera. From whatever I'm doing in the world, I rent that system for that job. Because it changes so quickly, too, that what I bought last year might now not be in vogue with an ad agency, and they want the newest, latest, greatest thing. So I let other people spend their money on that, and I just rent it for the job. Okay, we'll see if we can get back to the images. It went on a run. And if not, we'll wing it. So this whole idea of digital cinema, like I was saying, don't get caught up in it too much. It's a way to record an image. And here's a big difference. Here's a big change. The brain, our brain, there's a mic here. Our brain works very different than a camera. What happens when we look out here, right now, my eye can see some of the people in these seats and a little bit of detail in a lot of the dark areas. There's no way a camera could pick this up, and what I can see inside the projector lamp, I can actually pick that up as well. The range of light, or the latitude that our brain can pick up, as we call it, from black with any detail to white with any detail, it's called the latitude of the range, far exceeds any camera that exists on Earth. Probably 10, 15, 20 times in our eyes and our brain that a camera can see. So right now, if I took a camera, and if I could get an exposure of you guys in the crowd, it might see some of this, the blacks would definitely drop off, and it definitely cannot hold all the details I'm seeing in the lights. So we have to train our brain to say, okay, what kind of camera are you using? I'm using a 7D. All right. It has this much latitude. So I've got to capture the whites and then fill in the blacks, or I've got to expose for the blacks and bring down the highlights, and you've got to cram all that information in a much smaller range than our brain and our eye normally sees. So what we've got to do in lighting, and this is where people don't understand it, what you've got to do is bring up those blacks or crush those whites and compress that range. Yeah. Okay, cool, thank you. I'll take it. Anytime you guys can put it up there. So what we've got to do is train our brain to do what we want to have happen. I'm going to have to advance through this a little bit. Sorry about this, guys. I just got in late last night, and we didn't have a chance to prep this particular little presentation. So again, here's a range of light that's a great example. I've got detail in the highlight, the white areas back in here, and a little bit of detail in the shadows. And I took this with my phone, which is amazing that a phone can do that. The camera in phones today are remarkable. But we have to understand the right time of day or night, evening, that our phone can work in that range. Now, I know the camera in my phone, and I knew this would work. So I waited for this sky to drop like this, almost nighttime, and grabbed this image knowing that it would all record perfectly inside. 20 minutes before it wouldn't, 20 minutes after it wouldn't. So it was all timing for that. Well, as we probably heard before, we were waiting on the light. Same kind of thing here. I knew this time of day the range would be able to be captured in my phone, the camera in my phone. Same idea here. So time of day is a big one. I'm almost back to the beginning. Should go back up on the presentation, please. They can see me. There we go. All right, so again, here's the face of new cinema these days. And I mean, I know guys shooting big national car commercials with these cameras. $100,000 worth of lenses and gear around it, but the camera body is exactly the same. So the problem, like I said, is that these little guys end up needing a lot of accessories, a lot of peripheral gear to make it usable to really shoot a film or really shoot a real commercial. And this ad obviously says, even a blonde girl can do this if you buy enough gear, which is terrible that they did this ad. So the idea is you're buying all this extra gear just to make it like a regular camera, and my thinking is just buy a regular camera. It's a much better way of going about the process. So this is what everybody's crazy about. This is why DSLRs hit so big. These are called circles of confusion, and you can see detail inside of them. And what those are is little tiny points of light like this, and they're being spread over the big giant sensor. And when you spread light energy out, what happens is it spreads and spreads and spreads and gets less intense, and pretty soon you can see through it. And that's how we light cars and jewelry and glass objects, etc. Exactly the same idea. You're spreading light energy over a larger highlight, and then it gets less intense and the camera can handle it. So let me just kind of move forward on that idea. This is the sensor inside of a Canon 5D. It's not quite this big. It's maybe, I don't know, 2 inches by 1.5 inches, something. It's a large sensor for digital. That's what's causing this craze. That's what everybody's going nuts about, is this big, huge capture sensor. There's a camera company called Arri Motion Pictures and Lighting, and they just came out with a new digital camera called the Alexa 65. It basically is IMAX in digital, and that's a giant leap, and everybody's really kind of nervous about the fact that it's gone that huge. The sensor's probably this big. And so as you get to bigger sensors, what happens is you drop off in focus. You have less depth of field. So you've really got to put a tremendous amount of light in the picture, if you're lighting, to get a lot of depth of field, to get a lot of focus. So if I wanted to focus this whole room, I'm going to have 100,000 watts of light. So lighting does play in bigger productions. There's no way around that. So this is, again, an example. I shot this on a 5D, and you can see this minimal depth of field you get out of these giant sensors. See, here's those little points of light down here on the bottom, and they get spread out, and you can start to see through them. And this looks like cinema. This looks like 35 film, and that's why everybody went crazy over these new cameras. This is shot on the Arri Alexa. This is a feature film I shot earlier this year, and you can see again how beautiful, as people call it, the bokeh, or the little points of light fall out of focus, how pretty it is and how cinematic it looks. And that's why the little digital cameras, like the ones they're using to record this event, they can't do that because the chips are tiny and it'll never create that look. So the bigger sensors are the rage right now. Even with a wide angle lens, to get this kind of minimal depth of field where I can actually focus on this pencil, and then the background goes out of focus like that, is impossible with a traditional little video camera. So now you know why everybody's excited about these things. It's that look. And this is the Alexa, it's basically a cinema camera, only it's digital. And this is from the feature that we were working on earlier this year, and that was a setup I was working out at Stinson Beach on the coast out here. That's basically how it sets up and operates. So they're about the size of a regular old-style video camera. This is a Red Epic. It's a great little camera, a whole different kind of operating system, but lots of different ways to use these new digital cameras, even underwater. So it's the digital thing is here. LED is here. There's no way LED's going away. I was mentioning last night, these lights that are lighting me, all the lights in this room, 80% of the energy goes to heat. Only 20% of the energy lighting, every light in this room, goes out as light. 80% goes out as heat, just wasted energy. So LED is so efficient, there's no way it's not here to stay. Our planet can't handle this kind of heat and energy use anymore. So it's all coming. Now it's just a matter of time till it gets pretty and it creates the same kind of look that we're all used to. So as far as LED, I call it LED integration because nobody's going full LED yet. I work with ARRI, that motion picture and lighting camera, a lot. And they asked me to put together a video, and I'm going to show you this short film. I'm in it. It's a short marketing piece I did for them, and it'll kind of show you the state of the art of what LED lights can do right now and how it's changed so dramatically. So we'll watch this, and then we'll jump back into some more education. The ARRI L Series is a new generation of LED lighting fixtures. The L Series provides seamless integration of LED technology into established working practices within the film, television, and event industries. The L stands for LED, and the 7 is for the 7-inch Fresnel-like lens shared by each model. The new L series of lighting instruments offers a smooth transition into an era of high-performance, energy-efficient studio and location lighting solutions. Hi, I'm Bill Holshevnikoff. I'm a director of photography and lighting designer, and I've been working around the globe for over 30 years. I've been using ARRI lighting equipment throughout my career, and right now I'd like to share with you how I'm using LED lights for my work in both the studio and on location. The Fresnel lens light is one of the workhorses of the industry. Its ability to cut and shape light, eliminate spill light, create clean, crisp shadows, isolate talent, isolate set elements. The L7 series from ARRI takes us to a whole new level. Not only have they completely duplicated true Fresnel characteristics, but this light is also DMX controllable. I have the ability to do full dimming, I can do minor color correction, I can do full party colors and go into wild colors and make them background elements or hang them down behind the talent. When you change colors on a traditional tungsten Fresnel, you've got to add gels, and gels eat up a lot of light. So 1,000 watt Fresnel drops down significantly with a heavy purple or heavy blue or heavy red. With this light, you get the same output, and you can choose your colors, preset them, do chases. It has a huge variety of options in DMX control. Never before could you do that with a Fresnel. And the lamp engine probably lasts up to maybe 200 times longer than a traditional tungsten lamp. One of the great things about the L7 is the engineering and the heat management that went into this fixture. Not only does almost no heat go out of the front of the instrument, but also it doesn't require a fan under normal operating conditions. And if the studio heat level does rise, a silent fan kicks in. A lot of other LEDs, they may drop in output as the heat level goes up and the fan has to really kick in high power to keep it cool inside. This light is engineered at such a level that it stays consistent throughout with its output and also stays silent for the microphones. The L7 series can be integrated easily into existing studios, or you can generate an entirely new studio setup into a new operation.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Evenings. My name is Lee. Good evening, everyone. This is Evening Entertainment Hollywood.
So not only are we dealing with a new generation of electronics and controllability, but they've duplicated the look of an original Fresnel as far as the light it throws out on set, and for a lighting designer, that's incredibly important. Studio lighting is not the only place you'll see the L7 Fresnel. For commercial work, I love to use Fresnel lens lights, and the L7 brings a whole new range of flexibility to commercial work with both products and food. For me, the other really exciting thing about this new digital revolution is getting into the manipulation of the color of light via the camera, like in Alexa, and working with the L7. Today, we did two very different setups. In the food shot, what we did is we took the L7 and backlit the food, and we wanted the lime juice to have a hot backlit look. And honestly, the crew and I, we weren't even sure that the L7 would provide enough light to shoot at 120 frames a second. But when we got it all set up, it was actually almost too bright, and we dimmed it down a touch. Now with the violin shot, we did something very different. We gave three totally different moods, and all we did was manipulate color temperature. we set the Alexa at 4,000 degrees Kelvin, and we set the L7 at 4,000 degrees, so that gave me true white light for our first shot. And from there, we backed the color temperature on the L7 light down to 2,800, and that gave us a warm kind of sunset glow. Then we went to the other end of the dial, all the way up to 10,000 degrees Kelvin, and that gave us this very blue moonlight. In a few minutes, I was able to create a daytime look, a sunset look, and a nighttime look, all with just the touch of a couple of buttons. No gels, no filters, no extra time for the crew. It was so simple, and that, to me, is really, truly amazing. Corporate and industrial shoots have an entirely different set of demands. With a low power draw, high output, and the ability to control color, the L-Series Fresnels are a perfect fit for location lighting. Locations for film and television productions can be anywhere and everywhere. In a location like this, there can be particles flying, dust, moisture in the air. It can be very difficult on equipment. And also power can be an issue if it's a working environment. This light pulls barely 2 amps. In an operation like this, that can really, really save you. The other problem, sometimes you walk into a location and you've got daylight spilling in, you've got tungsten lights, and even fluorescent. The L7C Fresnel is a fully tunable white light that allows you to match the color at any location. In a matter of moments, I can dial into any one of those color temperatures with a minor tweak of the knob on the side of the light. It's that simple. The warm end of this comes in at about 28. You can see how yellow this is. Here's straight up 3,200. This is up to 7,500 right there, all the way up to 10K, and then back to 5,600 daylight. Loving it.
Big one, marker.
Also, these units are weather resistant. All of the internal parts are fully protected from dust, dirt, and humidity. Whether you're working in studio or on location, the L-Series Fresnels from Arri can provide you with an effortless transition into the new era of LED lighting. Please. So that gives you a pretty good idea of the state of the industry with LED. This is the cream of the crop. It doesn't get more sophisticated than this in lighting. The next step with LED lighting is what we're going to call smart lights. You're going to be able to tell the light what camera you're shooting on, and the output of the light will be maximized to match the chip in the camera to make it look as good as possible. So that's where it's all heading. That's why I said there's no way this isn't happening. But the reason I use the term LED integration is because these are expensive. They're $2,500 each. And it's about a 1,000 watt light. And you can get a 1,000 watt light for about 500 bucks. So tungsten, the original ones. So what happens is networks go, oh my God, we want to go LED. These are amazing. I love these. Let's get 50. And I'll say, okay, have you checked the price? And they go, oh, let's get 10. And then you can use our lights from 1960 and make it all work together, right? That's what happens to me all the time. So this is a network down in Bogota, Colombia. And this has LEDs built into the set. That's color changing LEDs. There's LEDs all over, and I'm using some to light the talent. And I'm mixed with 40-year-old lights. So that's my world right now. That's the reality of it. Unless you have a small new studio going in, you know, a little tiny news stage somewhere, or even a bigger news set, it's really rare that everybody's dropping the coin to go all LED. If it's brand new building, brand new operation, you'll get your money back in 3 or 4 years. If you're integrating into an older studio, it's not going to come back that fast because you still have a lot of copper wire and heat and all the traditional things we're all used to in big studios, or at least that I'm used to. I mentioned this is in Asia, and the other problem with LEDs right now is, see these little lights? Those were ordered by some guy at CCTV in China who knows nothing about lighting, but he saw them and said, well, these are cheap, these are great, so we'll send these for Bill. It's not at all what I asked for. But little lights throw hard shadows. Really big soft lights have really beautiful shadows, soft shadows. So they gave me a bunch of little lights and they want shadowless, gorgeous light. And my answer is we have a physics problem here. It doesn't work that way. See the hard lights on me, all these shadows here? That's from small sources far away. You can't take a light that big and make gorgeous soft window light. It doesn't work. The physics aren't there. It doesn't happen. So that's the other problem with LED is the wrong people are ordering them and they have no idea what they're buying, and yet they expect magic to come out of the other end, even though it's the wrong instrument. So the cool thing about what I do is there's physics involved, and I'm not a science freak, but once you do understand the physics of lights and why a certain kind of instrument does what it does, then it's a tool. And then you know which tools you need to get whatever effect. Some of the films we saw this morning, already I could see where lights were used. And most of it was natural light, but I could see some lights being used, and they were used right. They had the right look for the right environment. And we'll talk a bit more about that. So again, this is a really big set. All this red is actually white plexiglass, just like this. That's all white plex, and they can make it green, purple, red, whatever. These are all LED monitor walls. This is LED. It's gone LED crazy. And it's cool for the audience because everything changes every night. That can, same thing. These can go red, green, purple, anything. But as soon as you get light from our studio lights on that, it looks like white plex and you lose the color. So my job has gotten much more difficult because they want the talent to move around like I'm doing, but they don't want the light to magically hit the white plex behind them. So my job is getting more and more difficult because people don't understand what they're asking for. There's the same setting green. So what I have to do is say, no, the guy can stand here or on either side of the monitors and he can't walk around, and that's the reality of it, and they don't get that. So that's why I said a bigger part of my job is managing the situation more than making pretty pictures. This is in Romania, and ultimately, no matter what your set looks like, it's about people. Oprah had a very successful talk show for a very long time. Oprah could have sat in her kitchen. People didn't care where Oprah was. They just wanted to listen to Oprah. Oprah had to look good. That's a different story. But the fact is that Oprah could be anywhere and people want to watch Oprah. This gal's very popular in Romania. People want to watch her. We call the set eye candy. So don't get too sucked into your set, your environment, the world. That's background. That gives texture, mood, location, sense of place. It's all about close-ups in people in film. We were talking about the difference last night between theater and film and television. There's no close-ups in theater. The people way up there, the only way you're going to see a close-up of me is off this iMag camera system, so which we don't want to do that right now. So the idea is that in television it's all here, and the acting goes internal, and you see it in the eyes and the minor expressions. In theater, jazz hands. It's big. It's really big. It's kicks. It's talking. It's outrageous stuff that gets seen from the back row. So it's a very different world as far as lighting goes. And when I'm lighting people for network television stuff, I just lit this talk show woman in Miami, and she's 50-something. She's a pretty gal, but she's in her 50s. And I can't really hide that with high-definition cameras. So I do everything I can with lighting to have her look as good as possible. We can go back to the presentation. To have her look as good as possible on camera. All of them show me their little lines in here, a little thing here. They all go, oh my gosh, I've got all these problems. Can you fix it with light? With the right light, yeah, you can. With the wrong lights, not really. So it really does make a difference as the kind of tools you're using. These are some of the latest LED lights that are around. This is the Ariel 7 you just saw. Here's a KinoFlow soft light. That's by far the best soft light in the industry in my mind. This is a little area LED. These are, what are they called? The one-by panels, light panels. So it goes on, and everybody's jumped on the bandwagon. People that never even made lights have LED lights now because it's a buzz, so they want to make money. This is that gal in Miami, and I lit her so soft, she looks 25 instead of 50-something. She's happy. These are just really quick frame grabs I got off the internet. You can see there's just no wrinkles, there's no nothing. These are big, soft lights. It's the only way you're going to do this thing. There's a studio, and she was sitting at this desk back under the ladder during that, and you see a bunch of lights all around the top. Those are fluorescents. It's amazing. I can light with something other than an LED. The fluorescent fixtures, these are called KinoFlows, I use all the time. And it's gorgeous light, and it's controllable. So I can put it where I need it and get rid of it where I don't want it, so all those colors that you just saw really pop. This is a thing for EA Sports. This is Tim Brown. He's a Heisman Trophy football player from years ago. And lighting dark skin is a whole different thing. Somebody who have very, very, very dark skin in a white business shirt, you've got some issues because the camera, that smaller latitude, is saying, well, I can either see the skin or the shirt, but I can't see both if it's not done right. So if you light that situation wrong, your camera's going to be dying. It's going to say, I'm sorry, I can't help you here. I don't have the range your eyes have. So lighting really black skin, really dark skin is a whole different craft. And you've got to understand that what you're doing is you're painting with highlights. You're creating highlights on the side of the face, and that raises the tone of the skin up so the camera can pick it up. This big soft source on the left, these are Kinoflow fluorescents with white diffusion. That creates, lost my pointer, that creates a really soft glow on the side of his face, on the left side of his face as you look at him, and that raised the skin tone up to a light brown, and then the camera can pick it up. So each time we get into food, cars, people, locations, it all changes. It's just a matter of what we're working on and what we need to make happen for camera. This is from a feature film I shot in January. This is the Kinoflow LED that's downstage here, and I put that there for two reasons. Here's another part of my job, egos. She's an actress. She was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer for years. Never watched it. I don't know who she is. Her name's Emma. She's very nice. So, but she was kind of a star for a long time. So stars, they want a little love. You know, they want to be taken care of. They want people to know they were a star. So I put that light there. It helped a little, but really I put it there to make her feel special. So all I did was set it there, and I said, look, nobody else in the set has this. I put this here just for you. It'll add a little extra in your eyes and make you look really pretty. She was so excited. So that's another part of your job, is greasing people, just making them feel like they're wonderful. And because if they feel beautiful on camera, they relax, they drop their guard. Because actors are basically going out there naked in front of everybody and portraying someone else. And so it's a really touchy thing that you've got to, they have to know that the cinematographer has their back. They have to know I'm watching out for them. If the light looks bad, I'll catch it before it goes down on film or tape or digital. So the idea is that I have to build a trust with actors, and once they trust me, then I can do what I need to do. But you got to build up a trust with actors. So little things like I just showed you, that makes them go, well, he cares about me. And then they see the images later from the director or whatever, and they go, okay, I look good, I'm happy, I trust him, and then you can move forward. So that's why I was saying, just making the picture is a very small part of my job. It's a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's kind of crazy what you have to do day to day. These are some behind-the-scenes images of the feature we shot. There's the L7 on frame right, and I've turned the color temperature to 10,000 Kelvin. That's icy blue light for a bar scene, and you can see there's a soft light above them, like a China lantern above the main guys. And then these young ladies walk in, and you can see the icy blue light hitting the frame right side of their shoulders, and that big overhead soft light comes in and picks them up as they say hi to the guys at the table. So, and then the rest of it is all background. And so it's a really different way of thinking, and that's why I just wanted to kind of get you guys seeing the way that I see and the way that I have to think each day. This is another bar scene with the main character. There's a big soft China ball above them, and then I use the L7 for the warm and the cool tones in the background to make it feel like a bar. It was a bar, but it didn't look anything like this. It just had, you know, it's like turning on lights in here. It had no vibe in there at all. So I'm creating mood. I'm creating a sense of time of day and mood, and trying to tell a story and draw the audience, you guys, in so you're watching it and you believe it. And once you believe it, then you get sucked into the story. If you're not buying it, if you're not believing it, you're not going to get into the story. So as we pull back, you can, oh, I got rid of that production still, sorry. And here's another, I'll show that in a moment. And then here's another example. This is more EA Sports things. And so the guys would stand behind the podium. I've got LEDs, old tungsten lights. I've got everything and anything on a set like this. So it really is a mishmash right now of LED being integrated with DSLRs, with traditional cameras, with traditional lights. It's just, you're in a strange transitional time, but for you guys, the young filmmakers, you're here in an amazing time. It's never been easier. We could make a film right now, and you could have it up on YouTube for the world to see in an hour. That's incredible. When I was your age, if I didn't know somebody in the studio system or somebody at the networks, they would never see my work, ever. Nobody would. You sat in your garage trying to figure out how to get somebody to watch what you did. So you're here at an amazing time, really. You've kind of let us do all the hard work, and now you're jumping in with phones and things that can shoot cinematic type images. So you're lucky to be here at this time. Now it's a matter of seize the moment, as they say, and run with it. And just understand that it's more than just, this is a green screen of the same kind of thing, using LEDs and tungsten, etc. Yes? Oh, really? I didn't know when I started. Great. Okay, cool. All right, this is what I wanted to get to, mood and time of day. This is really what lighting's all about. This is the worst food photography I've ever seen in my life. I was in a bowling alley with a bunch of kids, and I walked by and I went, no, come on. And it's not cheap. I'm not quite sure what I'm not really sure what those are. I don't know. That doesn't look like food. So the point is, that doesn't look appetizing, and it's too expensive for what it is, and it's on a styrofoam plate. Really bad form. Bad approach. But why does this look so bad and this looks so good? It's where I put the lens and lighting. Now see, that's mood. Now you go, oh, I need lunch. That's not fair. And so look at shape, form, texture. Look at the shape of it. You can see the shape of the object right through here. Can I get there? Right up on this side. You see shape and form. I've got shadow. I've got highlights on the berries. I've got a candle in there. That was a 2-3 light setup, and it took me about 10 minutes. Because I knew where I was heading, and I knew the physics. I knew what I had to do to make that happen on camera. And a lot of experience helps to be able to do it that quickly, but I knew I could make that happen with a couple of lights. So again, why does that look so bad and that looks so good? And it's lighting, guys. Lighting changes your image. It changes your production value. It takes what could be normal, boring stuff, and it makes it special. Now, this is at a very expensive spa. There's a white fabric top to the place. The sun never, ever comes in. Had a beautiful model. She's got what we call visual cues. The fruit, the robe, the coffee, those are visual cues that say it's morning. But it doesn't feel like morning unless the sun's peeking in. So I took one big light, an HMI, a daylight source, behind that banana leaf plant and brought it in hot behind her, and suddenly you go, it's morning. Feels right. That's what I was talking about. That's a buy. That's what we'd say in the business. That's a buy. You go, yep, that looks like morning. So how do you get there? How do you make it feel like morning? And how do you make it feel like evening? This is in a tiny white room, massage room at a spa. Those are white walls, fluorescent overhead light. Couple minutes, we killed the light, relit it, gave it a totally different look, and now you go, oh my God, I'm exhausted, I need a massage. I definitely need that. I'm a loser. I haven't done that lately. So you're getting into people's psyches. You're making them go, I need a hamburger. I need dessert. I need lunch. I'm out of here. I got to go eat now. And that's what advertising does, is you have to make it believable so they buy into it. This is really what the massage room looks like. It doesn't look like this when you get a massage, but it tells you need a massage. So we cheat and lie a lot in advertising stuff. It's basically visual lies. Now, this is for Disney. These two little girls were so cute, they really took it very seriously that the girl in the red was sick. And you can see, this is a production still I took with my camera on my phone. So you can see where my camera is on left. You see a reflection of a bounce card in the mirror. This is just a little set. It's just 2 walls and some set pieces in a studio. But it feels like a doctor's office. Because, yeah, okay. But in a doctor's office, I might go 1 minute long. In a doctor's office, it's fluorescent lights. And that's big, soft lights. So we use big, soft lights and get the feel right so people buy into it that you're in the right location. This is one hard light. It's got a lot of emotion, a lot of drama. It has a mood. So if you do anything as you move forward, is check as you create images. Does it have a sense of time of day and mood? You should ask yourself that every time you make an image. Does it have a sense of time of day and mood? Even if it's just an interview in a room, does it feel like a time of day and a mood, or does it feel like a guy sitting in a chair with a camera on him? If you can break through that barrier, you'll get to images that really oops, that one was supposed to be in there. That wasn't Disney. Sorry about that. That was the feature film, not G-rated. You'll get to stuff like this. So you can walk into a room and they say evening, and you go, yeah, evening. Okay, I lit it evening. Well, actually, now I need morning. All right, now it's morning. And that's just adjusting of how I'm exposing it in the lights I'm using. So anyway, they're wrapping me up. I've got to get out of here. Hopefully this shook your brain up a little and got you thinking about lighting. Thank you very much for the morning.
Okay, Bill, thank you so much for that information. We don't have much time, but let's take some good questions from you all. Please come to our floor mic. Get real close when you say your name and your school to speak. I'd like to jump off first to prime the pump with one question. How do we, as student filmmakers, apply the artistry of lighting and cinematography when our schools don't give us much of an education on that subject?
That's a great question, and that is a problem throughout the planet. It isn't just here in Sacramento. The best suggestion I can say is you get creative. And if you guys have this beautiful resource called the internet, and you can look at behind-the-scenes photos of how people lit breakfast tables, how they lit a car, how they lit anything, food, and you can start to see how images were done and where lights were set. Most of it can be done with tracing paper, white bounce cards, art cards. Tracing paper and art cards are so inexpensive, and they basically will do the same thing that most of our more expensive diffusion and bounces and things like that will do. If you've got a light, even from Home Depot, and some tracing paper and a bounce card, you can create a whole different look. So mostly it's you being resourceful and looking at how, go online, see how things were done, look for behind-the-scenes images of, and then figure out how you can do it on your own on an extreme budget. Hi.
Hello, I'm Nick Maniscalco of...
We don't have a mic
Remember
up
to
yet.
speak right into the microphone, say your name and your school.
Okay, I'm Nick Maniscalco, Bella Vista High School, and I just want to know your preference on using natural sunlight as opposed to electronic light for just any outdoor sequences or anything near a big window, for example.
Well, it's almost two questions.
Okay.
I love working outside. The problem is the sun keeps moving.
Yeah.
And so we call you chasing the sun all day long. So if you can get the right moment outside, there is no more beautiful light ever. When you are inside looking out a window, that's a big problem, because what you've got the camera has that limited latitude. You have to set the exposure so outside looks good, and then you have to bring the same amount of light that's outside, which is the sun, inside. And that's why we use big lights called HMIs, because there's really no good cheat on that. The only easy way, dawn and dusk. You shoot not sunrise, dawn. The very first light, you'll get that gorgeous blue sky in the buildings, and you can use your small lights, and then if you miss it, you're waiting until dusk. Unfortunately, there's no good cheat on that. You just got to get big lights or the right time of day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Joshua Hamilton from Franklin High School. I was key grip on a project once, and I really enjoyed it. And I just wanted to know, do you have any tips for getting into the industry as a gaffer?
Yeah, well, key grip is dolly and flags and all that stuff, and a gaffer is actually the lights and power, etc. Yeah, be careful what you wish for. It's a very physical job. You're going to get beat up over the years. Yeah, I mean, you just have to start giving your time for free. I was saying to the kids last night, there's a tremendous amount of passion in this business, in theater and in film, television, and people will climb over you to get your position. So usually you have to work for almost nothing or nothing to get your name in with the people. And then if you did a good job, show up on time. Show up on time. Do not be late on a set, or you will not be asked back tomorrow. Guarantee it. Show up on time, show up 10 minutes early, never, never, never be late on set. I can be, because I've done it long enough. You guys can't be late. And then the other thing is stay late, be the last person to leave, and ask what you can do. If you do that, you'll get asked back, and then they'll start paying you. For sure.
Thank you very much.
All right, good luck.
I'm Jennifer Sheridan from Bella Vista High School, and I was wondering, how much do character emotions play into the lights? For like example, if a character was feeling jealous, would you put green lights?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's a cool shirt too.
Thank you.
That's more of a director call. I can suggest things, but usually today's audience is so sophisticated, you don't have to be that overt with it. You don't have to put green in for jealousy. That's an extreme kind of visual thing that a director may want to try. They did that with a film called Dick Tracy years ago, and they went very kind of comic bookish. But today people are so sophisticated, it's more the proper mood to let the actors do their thing. Just for instance, evening at a dining room table, giving that mood, and that if it's believable, then the actors buy into it too, and then they get into their character, and then you just let them do their thing. Usually you don't go that obvious, you know. Like I said, that's usually a director thing if they ask for it. It's a great question.
Thank you.
My name is Anne Marie from Bella Vista as well. I'm wondering if I'm improvising my own sets and I need better lighting. do you have particular tips because I'm usually working outside or in this classroom?
Yeah, see, location lighting, it really is about having the right tools. You're trying to get better lights that you can take around.
Yeah.
The cheapest thing you can do is go to Home Depot, buy a 4-lamp fluorescent unit. They make really lightweight ones that people hang in their garages, and with 4 tubes. Get daylight tubes. You can choose daylight or tungsten. Get daylight tubes. It'll probably cost you 30, 40 bucks, maybe 50 bucks. And you've got a light kind of like what I use in the industry called KinoFlow, and it looks right. It looks natural. So if you're outside, it's not going to do a lot. Then you need big, powerful lights. Then it's just getting them into the shade and maybe turning that on anyway. But inside classrooms and stuff, that would be your best, cheapest source, and it would look right. It looks like the right kind of light in there, so nobody will ever know.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Allison Watkins. I'm from Foothill High School.
Speak a little louder.
From Foothill High School. How would you know the right time of day if you're shooting outside in sunlight?
She asked, how would you know the right time of day for shooting outside? It's, I mean, morning is morning, sunset, sunset. We cheat it sometimes. We basically shoot early and late in the afternoon for exteriors, and in the middle of the day we shoot interiors, because when the sun's up there, it's nasty light. So we try to shoot all of our exteriors in the first and last part of the day, and then stay inside for the rest of the day, because the early and late light is really the pretty stuff on camera.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from Foothill. I was wondering if you change your ISO for video like you do for photography.
Good tech question. Yes. You know, until just recently, especially with DSLRs, it wasn't possible. The brand new DSLRs and the Canon C300, C100, you can jack the ISO all over the place. So yeah, for the very first time, we're changing the sensitivity of the camera per our needs. I just did it all week. And I mean, we don't go over about 1200. That's about as far up as we go because it gets really noisy. But yeah, we move it all over the place. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Alexa, and I'm from Bear River High School. There we go. I had a question on lighting like dark rooms without making it too obvious that the light's showing. Like, how would you do that?
When you want, for instance, a dark room or a night interior, the biggest mistake is people don't control their spill light. They turn on a light and it's all over the room, and then suddenly it doesn't look like what you want. So there's this stuff called black wrap foil. It's black tin foil. And we wrap that around the lights to control it. And that, with the barn doors, we pinch it down and just light pools of light and let the rest of the room go dark. And it's completely believable, but you have to control your spill light.
All right. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Hi, I'm Em from Pleasant Grove High School. I wanted to know the cheapest and easiest or best way to light a room without shadows.
If you don't want shadows, you need a big, soft source. So either take the lights you have and bounce them off the walls and the ceiling, because that makes a big, soft source, and it'll cancel its own shadows out, and you get really soft, beautiful light. It's also going to go everywhere, though. So you have to control it if you want a look in the room. If you just want shadowless light, really big, soft sources. Pieces of white card that you bounce a light in, punching it through diffusion, big, soft boxes, and just go huge, soft, diffuse sources, and it'll get rid of all the shadows.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so you're gonna have to be our last question. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Reed Kiefer from Christian Brothers, and I wanted to know like a good way besides using like blue and like orange, you know, kind of the white. Like, what are like good other places besides like bars to do like, you know, red or green or other colors?
For music videos or film or what?
For like short film and kind of stuff like that.
I mean, you're just looking for locations where you can throw color around?
Yeah, like, is there any like other places that you could do stuff like
factories, industrial factories, stuff like that? Because when you start throwing color around, people start wondering why is there color.
Yeah.
So if there's machines, hospitals, they don't question. They go, well, that heart machine must emit blue light, and so you can any kind of machinery, factories, anything like that, you can cheat it. Bars, that's just a given because that's what's in bars. But otherwise, you got to have a pretty darn good reason if there's no machinery around. You're just throwing wild color light. It'll look like a music video.
Yeah.
Just
So it's
color
good
for
music
color's sake.
videos.
Yeah. I mean, if you These days, you can do anything you want. There's no, last note, that's a good question. Last note, there is no wrong or right in lighting, ever. If your director's happy, you're right. That's how that goes. You may hate it, but if they're happy, you did the right thing for them all day long. So if a director said, I just want greens and purples, okay. So you throw greens and purples around, they go, I love it. And you say, terrific, it's been a good day. So if they love it and you're making them happy, you're doing your job. I go in as an artistic technician. I put the ego in the back pocket and I do what the director is looking for. So it's their call, really. If you're directing as well and you want it and you love it, then there's no bad. It's like a painting. It's just a matter of taste.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Cool, good question. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. We're terribly sorry that we were unable to get everyone's questions answered. We just have so much in our program today. We promised to bring Bill back to spend a day with us early next year in a Yabama Theatron session.
Bill, thank you again so much. Please give our Wizard of Youth send-off.